This is section 9.1 of the Normal Distribution Chapter 9 chapter. In this section, we will learn exactly what the table tells us and the techniques needed to use the table effectively to work out the answer to the different type of questions you will get. Now, as with all the videos, let me remind you that you should be making notes of any questions you have from the videos so that you can remember to ask them in class. All the notes that you will see in this page should be in your orange book, except from the table which is in your textbook already. This note, of course, will be online on the OneNote link and also in a PDF form if you need it. Now, this is Mr. Chan's secret method to work out the answer to all the chapter 9 questions. To work out the probability, you must first sketch a graph and then find the area of the graph. To find the area, you must use the table. And to use the table, you must make sure that the probability is in a less than positive form. To do this, you can use two techniques. A, use symmetry to reflect the area. B, use the fact that the total area equals 1 to do the 1 minus technique. Now these quoted names are made up by me, and so these are not the conventional terms, but I'm just going to use them to explain things in a more easier way. Let me explain to you the different type of questions you will get to begin with. There are 4 types of questions. Probability of a random variable being less than a positive number, probability of a random variable being bigger than a positive number, probability of a random variable being bigger than a negative number, and the probability of a random variable being less than a negative number. Right, let's use my method to work out the probability of all of these. So it says, number 1, to sketch a graph. Remember, all standard normal distributions has a mean value of 0, and it says to find the area. Well, let's first sketch the area. 1.5 is going to be to the right of 0, so let's mark 1.5, and they want the area of the section less than 1.5. Now, to find the area, it says I need to use a table. But there is a condition. To use a table, make the probability in a less than positive form. Now, is this in a less than positive form? Yes. The probability is asking for a value less than a positive number, 1.5. So we can use the table in page 201, which will be given to you in a formula booklet in the exam, to look for 1.5, which is right here, and so the probability is 0.9332. So this is a straightforward one, 0.9332. Next question. Probability of finding z bigger than 1.5. Alright, as with the method, let's first sketch the graph. Mean equals 0, and they want the area of the section bigger than 1.5, so I'm going to shade into the right. Now, can I use this table? Use a table? Well, to use the table, I need to make sure that the probability is in a less than positive form, but this is in a bigger than positive form. Right, so we have a problem. So we need to make it into a less than positive form, and to do this I can use either one of the two methods. in this case, we're going to use the 1 minus technique. Now, because the total area is equal to 1, if I take away the probability of the area less than 1.5, then I will get exactly the answer I need. So what I can write is probability of z being bigger than 1.5 is equal to 1 minus probability of z being less than 1.5. Actually, I already worked out what that probability is, so let's just copy that down. So that's going to be 1 minus 0.9332. So the answer is 0.0667. So that's the second one done. Let's have a look at the third example. Probability of a z being bigger than minus 1.5. Alright, let's first sketch. This time the number is minus 1.5, so the number is going to be to the left of 0, and they want the area bigger than z, so they want this section. Now again, can I use this? Can I use the table right now? No, because it is not in a less than positive form. It is in fact in a bigger than negative number form. So I'm going to have to use one of the two techniques, either the reflect technique or the 1 minus technique. In this case, I will use the reflect technique. Now, due to the symmetry, which means that both halves are reflections of each other, I can just use the fact that the probability of z being bigger than minus 1.5 is equal to the probability of z being less than 1.5. So actually this is just probability of z being less than plus 1.5, which we can work out using the table. Well, actually it's the same number as above, so we can just use 0.9332. Finally, this is the annoying one, because you have to use two techniques, but it's still doable. First, we need to sketch the graph, and they want the area less than 1.5, so they want this. Again, we can't use the table right away because it's not in a less than positive form. So we need to make it into a less than positive form. To do this, we need to do it in two steps. First step, let's use the symmetry to reflect. So 1.5, reflect the area. So probability of z being less than minus 1.5 is equal to probability of z being bigger than plus 1.5. Now still it's not in the less than positive form, so I'm going to have to use the 1 minus technique. So 1 minus the probability less than 1.5, which is 1 minus probability of z being less than 1.5. Again, this is just 1 minus probability of z being less than 1.5, which is 0.9332, and this we worked out before, 0.0668. sorry, this is 668. So these are the 4 types of questions that you can be asked, and if you follow this method, you will be able to work out all these different type of questions. You just need to make sure that before you use the table, it is in the less than positive form, like this. If not, you can use the reflect technique or the 1 minus technique to make it into the less than positive form. Now, why do you need to turn it into less than positive form? Well, let's study the table for a bit. If you looked at the table for the first time, you might be utterly confused or scared of what it looks like. There's so many columns and so many numbers. Well, actually, the table originally looked something like this. There's the z values and the probability of z being less than z values, and it would have been a long table of 2 columns, starting from 0.00 all the way down to 4.00, and then the probability starting with 0.500 all the way down to 1.000. It's not exactly 1, but rounded to 4 decimal places, 1.000. But this would have been too long to fit on a single page, and so what they decided to do is to cut it into 5 sections, and then that's why you have these 5 columns of data. So you just need to think of this as a long table of 2 columns. So it starts from here, top left hand corner, it goes from 0 all the way down, and this in this order, all the way down to 4, and the probabilities correspond. Now, to answer the question why we need to make it into the less than positive form, it's because of this. This table only tells us the probability of less than positive form, because the z values are all positive. They never go negative. And so because, well, otherwise the table will be too big, or it will cover over many pages, and that will actually be more confusing. And so that's why you need to make it into less than positive form. And we have briefly touched upon the different type of questions you'll be asked, and in the next video we will go through some of the examples from the textbook to actually use these techniques to work out the probabilities. Thank you.